When grinding gear games first announced Path of Exile 2, it was sold on the idea of fluid and dynamic combat. This was huge news to Path of Exile 1 players, as melee clunkiness had been a long-standing issue that everybody wanted addressed. In order to accomplish this, a few mechanics were introduced with the intention to improve how playing melee felt. WSD movement, dodge rolls, skills with built-in movement, and strikes with step ins are all things a melee character has to remain under tight control and emotion while fighting. While all these mechanics are vast improvements over old melee, it doesn't feel like enough to make melee characters satisfying and viable. Here's why. The most fundamental issue is that most melee skills still require the character to be completely stationary during attacks. Not only does this completely undermine the whole point of POE 2 combat, it's also a fatal flaw for the viability of a character. Standing still is a death sentence, especially with the expected attack time for a lot of melee skills. Even if enemy skills are dodged before attacking, many enemies will have enough time to retaliate. This problem seems almost exclusive to melee. Bows, crossbows, and spells can all be used while moving and have the added benefit of being usable from range. This means that they can fight back while also dodging incoming enemy attacks, something that melee can't seem to do. The skills that do have movement don't have the movement implemented in a way that either feels good or allows for dodging in combat. Step-ins are all performed in a straight line towards the enemy, right where they're hitting back. Thunder can be used from a distance, but it's so slow that enemies can often just walk up and get hits in. Earthquake is one of the better skills, but the delay in having to stand still while attacking means that it never hits first. Rolling Slam is too small and it hits too slowly to properly engage large groups of enemies. There's also this wind down animation after each attack that requires a dodge roll to cancel. This is a bit spammy and annoying, but it also means getting hit more. By GGG's design, the dodge roll is very slow at the end, and since many enemies are as fast as the character, this allows them to walk up and get attacks in. Because of these problems, there's no consistent way to avoid getting hit during combat. Melee gains almost no benefit from being melee, as it doesn't have any additional life recovery or something like Fortify. This means that a life less has to be used constantly, which leads to a frustrating gameplay loop where every pack encounter requires a life less usage, and if the used charges aren't gained back, they eventually run out. What melee does get is stun. In general, stun is actually a pretty compelling mechanic, more on this later, but it comes after the monsters have already hit the character. Most of these issues could be mitigated by properly integrating movement into the melee skills. Default attacking could be allowed to sidestep while attacking, like all other skills in the game. Earthquake could be allowed to move during the wind-up. Sunder could jump and then turn in midair to dodge projectiles. Step-ins could be directed to go past enemies. If Perfect Strike could move even a little bit while channeling, it could reposition on awkward boss hitboxes to feel a lot better. Now let's talk about something that's done right, the boss fights. The boss fights in POE 2 are fantastic, and it's one of Melee's strong suits as it actually has great single target damage. When heavy stuns were first revealed, many POE 1 players probably rolled their eyes. What's the point of a 4-second stun when the boss is supposed to be dead within 4 seconds anyway? However, this mechanic is surprisingly satisfying. The boss fights are extremely engaging, and successfully dodging a boss to stun it and set up a massive damage combo gives a genuine payoff. It feels fantastic to knock an annoying boss down and absolutely annihilate it. These moments also show just how much effort 3xG is actually put into the game. All that being said, the future of POE 2's combat looks bright. There are many ways that the gap between fun bossing and effective clearing can be bridged. With a little adjustment, melee can easily be an extremely engaging and fun archetype. The game is not done in its current state, so the possibilities of what Triple G does next are endless and exciting. For full disclosure, here's my character and gear. It's not very good, but I used what the game gave me as I ran through the campaign. It's a two-hand Warcry Fire Slam build, and I've done what I can to grab as much attack speed as I can. I've even avoided this node down here that gives reduced attack speed.